Things just took a surprising turn for the Vancouver Canucks after trading their captain and vowing to rebuild. The Vancouver Canucks complete their New York sweep on the backs of key veteran players in Kiefer Sherwood, Thatcher Demko, leaving fans questioning what this management group does going forward after this Canucks team has completely turned their play around in the past few games. We're going to break down everything from this game, what it means moving forward for the Vancouver Canucks, and so much more in this episode. Before we get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. We're trying to reach a goal of 9,000 subscribers. So if you're enjoying this daily content and you want to stay up to date on the Canucks, make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button. Now, the big thing is the Vancouver Canucks traded Quinn Hughes. We've seen the management, Jim Rutherford, specifically come out to say that this was a team looking to rebuild, retool, whatever you want to call it. But since this happened, we did see the Canucks win 3 straight games in a row, and this is a surprising turn, in my opinion, on exactly what is happening around this team. Now, before getting into the game stats, I want to give a huge shout out to Tyler Myers, playing game number 1100, and a player that, in my opinion, is a sneaky candidate to become the next captain of this team moving forward. Now, the big thing is, looking at this game, we've seen the Canucks go into the game. They've rung off a win versus the New Jersey Devils the day after trading Quinn Hughes. We go into a game versus the New York Rangers where they did win that game in a shutout. But listen, everyone's shutting the Rangers out nowadays on their home ice. Going into this game, though, the scoring opened by David Kampf. Listen, I still want Ratu in this lineup, but listen, shout out Kampf for his first, not only goal, but point as a Vancouver Canuck. And then we see Kiefer Sherwood coming in clutch and scoring 3 goals with the team. Now, the big thing is, with the Canucks, a lot of guys stepped up in this performance. Yes, Kiefer Sherwood scored, but Filip Hronek looked outstanding. Tom Villander looked great on the power play unit. And we also know that this is a team that has Thatcher Demko. Now, we're going to touch on Demko very soon, but with the Canucks as a whole, things are taking an interesting turn now. We're seeing a team not only win a couple of games, 3 in a row, including a shutout and almost a shutout tonight as well, but this is a team that also outshot a team. Listen, Christmas Miracle, it came early. This is a team that 30 shots on this game, and the big thing is, and one thing I want to touch on before we get into some key components of this game, is the fact that the Vancouver Canucks held the Islanders 0 for 3 on the power play. Now, the Canucks penalty kill versus the Islanders 0 for 3, versus the Rangers 0 for 4, and versus the Devils 0 for 3. This is a team that has held opponents to no goals on the power play in the last 10 games, which feels like a big boost for this Canucks penalty kill. You can see the faceoffs, 33% on the power play. The team is starting to shift in a different direction. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a team that's now a contender, because yes, you add some new guys to the lineup. Thatcher Demko is a big piece, but this is a team that's starting to scare me because we know what this ownership's like. And if they start seeing wins ring off, maybe they don't want to throw in the towel. Now, looking at the impact scorecard for the Canucks, the one and only on top, Kiefer Sherwood, who's around in a lot of rumor talks, is getting his trade value up. But the big thing with Kiefer Sherwood scoring his 16th of the season after scoring his hat trick tonight, not only is Kiefer Sherwood coming out to score goals. We know the very hot start to start the year when scoring goals. He took a bit of a dip, but now coming in with those 3 big goals, Kiefer Sherwood is playing his butt off during these games and almost pushing the 150 hits already on this season. Now, the big thing with Kiefer Sherwood, and it's going to get interesting, is does this raise the value? We know Kiefer Sherwood is reportedly asking for $5 to $5.5 million. Is he worth this? God, yes. We see what he can bring. We know the goal scoring. He brings that thorn to the game that we've seen this Canucks management really like about him. When we played them versus the National Series just a couple of playoffs ago, when the Canucks were actually in the playoffs, it was nice to see. But this is a player that reportedly wants $2 million more than what the Canucks are willing to go on. So seeing him pick things up, this is a player that could truly fetch the Canucks a first plus coming up on this trade deadline, especially with the $1.5 million cap hit. It makes things even better. Now, of course, we have to touch on Thatcher Demko. We can see the 3 games versus these teams as well. The New Jersey Devils having a .962 save percentage going in to get a shutout versus the New York Rangers and a .957 tonight versus the Islanders. This is a goaltender that went from kind of struggling. We see the .862, the .625, the .800 versus Nashville and Buffalo. These are games you don't want your goaltender to struggle in, but now the Canucks have their goaltender coming back, being the hottest goaltender in the NHL at the very moment, and this is a big thing with Thatcher Demko as well. We know the injury concerns that are always going to float around people's heads. This is the goaltender that was a Vezina candidate just 2 seasons ago before getting hurt a bunch, of course, extending Kevin Lankinen as the insurance, but looking at Thatcher's number, this year so far, we can see the .913 save percentage. He comes through with a 7-5 record. This is a goaltender that's going to steal you a lot of games, and we've seen 3 straight starts for Thatcher over this New York road trip. I love getting Thatcher, and you want to get his confidence up. He's probably going to win you too many games to maybe finish dead last in the NHL, which we're going to touch on very soon. But this is a goaltender that every team wants. If this management group, and we've seen reports coming out, they don't want to do a 5 to 10 year rebuild. They want to do this really quick rebuild, which is a retool, at the end of the day, and still having Thatcher Demko locked in and his extension kicking in. That's a goaltender that can help segue into this retool. I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I want the Canucks to tear this down to the strips. Yes, it would be nice, but this is a team that has pure talent on it. We see it from their veterans. PD has not been in the lineup. They still won 3 straight games. You have new faces in this lineup. Liam Olgren looks outstanding. Please get him higher up in this lineup. But listen, we also want Ratu in, so maybe Foot watches these and just hates everything I say. But at the end of the day, this is a team, they have rung off 3 wins. They're still ranked 30th in the NHL, so you don't need to panic that this team is taking too big of a jump. If they win 10 straight, yes, this is probably going to completely shift the mindset of this management group. But now looking at Money Puck, the Canucks still hold the 3rd best odds to land the 1st overall pick at 8.9%. We can see Chicago at 8.4. We can see St. Louis sitting just above it. But with the Canucks jumping up in the standings, they're still 6 points out of a wild card spot. Chicago Blackhawks currently sit there. And with this Canucks team, the way they're playing, yes, they could go on a run. We see this season after season, falling out of the playoff spot just to go on a big run, land the 15th overall pick. I almost said Coots because that's who we got with it. But at the end of the day, it's going to get very interesting what this management group wants to do with the core of this team. Of course, Marco Rossi, Zeev Boyum, and Olgren joining this team completely changed how we look at it. You get some young talent. I really like that they went out to get not only 3 NHL players, but 3 very young former first-round picks to join this team. If you move Kiefer Sherwood and get another young player or another first, and you go into this draft with 3, this is a team that, yes, you would like to get a top pick. You want Gavin McKenna, you want Stenberg, you want someone in the top of this draft, but you also go in with 3 picks, a lot of young talent added. So at the end of the day, looking at this team, yes, tearing it down a tiny bit, adding some young players that are ready to join. Jonathan Leckamacky wants to make the jump. Victor Mancini is another name in Abbotsford, and you still have multiple guys coming through the system. Medvedev is the goaltender of the future, but fans, what is your thoughts on this? What is your thoughts on the 3-game win streak? Are you worried that maybe ownership looked at Jim Rutherford and Patrik Allvin and saying, hey, we're winning games, why are we selling? Let's make that push. What is your thoughts on everything? Let me know down in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark Bye, and take care, Canucks fans.